We talk retirement on this program, and we're kicking things off with really getting to know Mitch a little bit better, kind of his backstory, growing up, working hard, getting a scholarship to play at Michigan State, plays football. He's a tight end, gets drafted in the 6th round by the Falcons in 1993, plays 4 years with the Falcons, plays 3 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so with the Falcons, he's got Deion Sanders, Jerry Glanville's the head coach. Then it was June Jones, the head coach. Goes to Pittsburgh. Now he's got Jerome Bettis, the bus, and he's got just incredible players, obviously, with the Steelers. And so we're now to the point, okay, well, he goes to Arrowhead Stadium to play the Chiefs. Kickoff return. Has his knee blown out. Second time he's hurt a knee, but this time it's a worse injury. So now he's like, okay, now what am I going to do? Goes back to Michigan State to rehab, and they're like, hey, we might have a job for you. You want to go into the financial world, the insurance world. That's kind of, I played a lot of sports, Mitch, and it was one of the things that it seemed like insurance especially wanted former coaches or former athletes, football players or basketball, whatever, to get into that line of work because they're like, okay, they got some discipline. Is that kind of what made them come after you maybe a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, when I look to hire people as well, I like an athletic background, right? They're competitive. They know what it takes to work hard. You don't just roll the ball out and play your best ball. I mean, you've got to practice, you've got to train. So I think that's a big part of it. And having that hunger, especially in a business that is based on, seeing people, you kind of eat what you kill in terms of, finding clients and creating relationships and it's not just a 9-to-5 where you're getting punched, punching a clock and getting paid a salary. So I think they were looking, people that hired me were looking for somebody that was hungry, and I do the same thing now as an employer with people I bring into the fold. I want them hungry, and like I said earlier, a good portion of them are my kids. All my kids do it, so. They've heard all the stuff growing up about needing to be hungry and working hard, and now they get to hear it every day in their adult lives too. So,
all right. So you and your wife Angela, blended family, 3 boys, 3 girls, all but one work for you at Lyons Wealth, right? Because the one is still,
our
youngest is still playing basketball at Ferris State.
Yeah, the baby of the family, Grace. So she's ours together. So I have 2 sons. My stepkids have 2 daughters and a son that Angela has. And then we had Grace together. Grace was kind of the surprise. A couple of years after we got married, we've been married 20 up to 22 years now, I guess. But Grace was a surprise a couple of years into that. So she's blessed our family's kind of the common denominator. She's playing basketball up at Ferris State University Division II school. And so we chase her around. That's fun still. But I imagine, at some point down the road, she'll be involved with Mitch Lyons Wealth just like her siblings are.
Yeah,
and it's cool. I love having the kids work for me, work with me, I should say. And, it's a reason they got to talk to their dad every day. So when I call, they got to take a call where maybe sometimes they wouldn't if they weren't working with the same business. So that's kind of a neat aspect of it.
So that's keeps you super busy and kept you super busy. Obviously, during that time after the football injury in 1999, getting into the insurance financial world later in 2000. And then 2019, you go, you know what? I think I'm going to start my own company. So you kind of did a bunch of things for different companies, I would assume, in that, 15 to 18-year period.
Yeah, like I said, I started with AXA Advisors, and then I left them, went the independent route, and just it's kind of a lone wolf, so to speak. A few years later, I partnered with another gentleman. We farmed our own company, and we worked together for a good 8 years. That ended amicably. We each kind of went our separate ways for a few different reasons. But like I said, 2019, I decided, okay, I'm gonna create my own firm, Mitch Lyons Wealth, and kind of just lean into the branding of Mitch Lyons Wealth and trying to grow that. And lo and behold, and I wanted to go to a virtual business where I could work from anywhere, right? Getting to the point when we got older, I knew, hey, I want to be able to travel. We love traveling. I like working too. So I wanted to have a situation where I could work wherever the heck I was, and I could work with people wherever they are. And lo and behold, a few months later, this crazy thing called COVID-19 happened and it made the world go that route. So I kind of had a head start on that, and I was writing my book at the time, Retirement of Steel. And so I spent the rest of that year finishing the book up, and then we went headfirst into it, advertising that on the radio with ads, offering the book and an opportunity to speak with us. And I added my son-in-law, and then over the years, I've added my kids and some non-family members as well. But we, wrote the book. I was involved with a couple different movie projects. The most recent one, The Retirement Deception, which I'm featured in, and free streaming code on the website if folks are interested in watching that. But yeah, it's been a wild ride, and we continue to be virtual because it's convenient. It's convenient for our clients. They don't have to they don't have to. It's a little different than what people were accustomed to. But I think COVID-19 just made everything easier for people. People buy their cars on the internet, right? Who would have ever figured that? And so jumping onto Zoom and being able to help people in the comfort of their own home and just gives us a lot more flexibility, and our clients have really enjoyed that.
So in starting your company, it's one of the because you're thinking of football days, right? So your best game plan for you is to help people protect, grow, and then win retirement. That's kind of what you say on the website. You have a lot of things on there that are really fun to read, but because of your way your football career ended with the kickoff return in Kansas City where you blew up your knee, so that means you're ready for the unexpected. And you'd been thinking, boy, I wonder how long I'll be playing in the NFL. Wow, I made it through 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Well, I'm done with the Falcons. Well, now I'm going to the Steelers for 3 more years. So you're always thinking of the end to a degree. I think you weren't Peyton Manning and you weren't John Elway and the big quarterbacks. You're a tight end doing all the dirty work for your team. So you're always kind of looking at the end. But this financial retirement world, income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning, Social Security, and Medicare, there is a lot on people's plate when it comes to retirement.
There are, and there is, and there's so many parallels between retirement planning and football, and that's kind of why I've learned to really love it and enjoy the planning process. When you're crafting a game plan, during an NFL season, I mean, you play your game on Sunday. The players, they come in, they get treatment. You watch film on Monday. Tuesday's a day off. It's a mandatory day off per the union. So, I generally would go in and work out or whatever, but there's no team activities. And during that Tuesday, that's when the coaching staff is watching film of the upcoming opponent and they're developing that game plan, right? And there's so many factors that come into that. There's 11 people on the field every play, right? And for each side, and each one's got a specific job. So there's a lot of correlation between making sure all those 11 pieces are working together. And much like a retirement plan where you've got to have the income planning, the long-term care protection, the market volatility protection, all these things that go into making a successful game plan for retirement is same stuff we were doing in the NFL, just with a different focus. So it makes it fun for me because, like I said, I'm an ex-football competitive guy, and I want to help people win retirement. At the end of the day, nest eggs are great, but how are you going to create the income to make sure you enjoy every day like it's Saturday? Because in retirement, every day is Saturday.
So, big question for you. As a former quarterback, obviously in high school, but then also in college, and so our plays were not complicated. It was the 2 back to the 4 hole. So we were red formation, 24, right? That was it. 2 back, 4 hole. NFL, you hear them call the plays, and after watching the quarterbacks on Netflix, I think it was, and you had Mariota and Mahomes and them, and the way they're studying their playbooks, and I think it was Cousins maybe that would record it and then listen to it and try to regurgitate the plays as he's driving to the facility. Why do you have to tell everybody what to do on every single play when you call a play in the NFL?
I mean, you've got to justify these salaries, right? I mean, these coaches, they got to show how much smarter they are than everybody else. So that they've got to make all these crazy names, right? Well,
give me
left
a play
Trey
call.
Wingo,
do that again. Yeah, give me a play call.
You can make anything up, right? And it's funny how these plays will come along, right? Somebody, I mean, if you're listening on the games on Sunday or Monday when you're watching NFL games and you hear all these, the flip right, Trey, 24 slide, everything's got its little meaning to at least somebody on that field. But oftentimes the main play is like somebody's high school girlfriend or, the team, the high school mascot, or just something funny that came up in practice. And they're like, okay, well, we'll just call it that. That's how some of these things, I mean, it sounds scientific, but in the reality, a lot of this stuff's just made up on the fly. And then you just put the pieces around it, right? As far as, the motion, you got to have a motion, something to alert whoever's going in motion and, which side the X receiver is going to or the Y receiver is going to. So it's a lot. And, I tell you what, quarterback is the hardest position in sports. There's so much you have to know. It's not just your position. You got to know what every position is doing. Right. And that there's a reason, and you have to do it all while you've got 300-pound linemen, bearing down on you, just wanting to get a shot on you because the rules are built for you. So if they can get a legal shot on you, they're going to give it their all. Right. And there's a reason these guys get paid as much money as they do because not very many people in the world can do it and do it effectively.